for 88.3 The Sting. My name is Jessica Klinowski, and today I'm here with Justin and Slavo of Fly By Midnight. I'm really excited that they're all here today. Their new single, As Long as It Leads to Me, was off their new upcoming album. Just got added to our station last week, and we're really excited to hear more about their experience and just learn more about them. So, how are you guys doing today?
Hi, Jessica. Thank you for having us. We're good. This Tuesday, today's Tuesday, right? Yeah, it feels like it's been a very long week already. We're going to be moving studios and yeah, just really exciting stuff going on by us, but all very busy. Anything you'd add, Slavo?
No, yeah, we're like we were just talking about in the midst of recording, and then we're gonna move our whole entire lives. So it should be a quick switch up. But
Where are you guys
Yeah.
moving to?
we're basically our studio is like on the Hollywood side of town, and we're gonna move it over to the Valley side.
Okay, got it.
Bigger space. Hopefully that inspires some cool stuff. But we're excited. I'm
That's
gonna
super
technically, am
exciting.
I closer to you now, Justin, or is it about the same?
You're going to be a little bit closer to me, so it'll be a little bit quicker commute into work. And
Okay.
yeah, like Slavo said, I think since we started the band, we've been working in studios that are quite small since we've been in New York. So this is like our first, I guess, glow up moment, which we're excited about. Yeah.
That's really exciting. All right, so let's start at the beginning. When did you guys decide that music was something you wanted to get into? And how did both of you guys meet?
You can go ahead.
Uh, so I think what we always say is cool about Slavo and I, our music journey is a little bit different. I started off more on the theater side in high school,
Awesome. Okay.
um, and then around college, I was putting up covers and on YouTube, as most kids were around my age at that time. And then yeah, I mean, I decided that taking music seriously, I really didn't want to do something by myself. I was never interested in a solo project. Which led me to meeting Slavo, and we had a session together, and we very quickly became, best friends. And then I proposed to him to start the band, and then the rest was sort of history. At least that was my retelling. Maybe Slavo has a
No
different
ring
story.
though. You did it without a ring.
I know,
Um,
right? Very rude.
yeah, it's funny because, like Justin said, I grew up in the screamo scene doing music in Florida. So, um, my brother, when I was 10, had gotten a drum set, and I was super jealous. And I told my parents, and the next year I was like, I want a guitar, and then they came through and got me a guitar, which was nice. So, I guess that's technically when I started playing. Um, but yeah, did that for a while. Got really into it. Got really into recording music. I was excited about that. Did a lot of like covers. I know Justin, when we started, was big into doing covers by himself too. So we definitely had that in common. And that was obviously a sign of the times too. Like that whole YouTube era was big on covers.
Hmm.
But yeah, moved to New York, met Justin. Had no intention of doing anything related to an artist project. Definitely wanted to just stay in the studio, be a studio rat, and he pulled me into this world, and I'm grateful he did. It's been fun ever since. So
Awesome. That's really cool. Well, your first album then was Cover Change. So does that kind of flow with some of that, with the cover inspirations that both of you had?
Yeah, yeah. What's funny is a lot of people have a little bit of an ego about doing covers, right? Because they think, oh, that means, they don't have original music or anything like that. But Slavo and I were, writing original music from day one, but we really did discover the voice of the band through doing covers. We discovered how our voices work well together. And yeah, it was like a really fun time to learn more and sort of sharpen the craft. But yeah, that was technically our first. I mean, we don't, I guess it's more of a compilation of covers and an album per se. But appreciate you doing your homework there. That was, I feel like we were like little
throwback.
feet. Yeah, we were like little fetuses then. But yeah, definitely. We're very proud of all of the older stuff we've worked on.
Awesome. So then you had lots of other albums released since then. You had New York Nostalgia, Rerunning, Happy About Everything Else, Silver Crane, and Visual Illustrations. So you got six albums in total and another coming up. What album do you think started to, because from listening to you guys, I have heard kind of like a change in your sound as you've gone on. So any comment with the change in that process, or any album that you think kind of solidified that sound for you guys?
I would say probably Silver Crane was like a turning point for us.
Yeah.
And then I think the last one, Fictional Illustrations, we really like dialed it in even more. And now too, like it just, Tales all this time, the more you do it, the better you get at it. Well, hopefully we are getting better at it. That's inside opinion, but um, yeah, I mean, Silver Crane was a big one for us. I think we really figured out like the album process and what we wanted an album of ours to sound like. And before that, we were just kind of throwing stuff at the wall and putting it together. And not that we don't have any pride in it, but I think the Silver Crane era was a big one for branding purposes, for how we wanted everything to appear, sound. Yeah, it was a big
I
one.
I agree. Yeah, I feel like I say this often, but I feel like certain songs walked so other songs could run, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And even on Happy About Everything Else, like Slavo said, I think we were just starting to figure out like, oh, we are a band.
Mhm.
Like we could have elements of being a band. So there are certain songs on that record that like we sort of started to scratch that itch. But then Silver Crane, which I very much in part to Slavo's production too, are really honing in on just sort of like what we can experiment with or like who we are. And even just from a branding perspective, I think Silver Crane felt very nostalgic and youthful, which we've always tried to keep elements of that in our music.
Yeah. I think it was Dance off of that album that was the first one I found from you guys. And then I got really just into your music and your sound because I love um you guys have like a really cool way of mixing like cool music with really intricate lyrics that are really just like you're listening to it, you're like, wow, this is a piece of like art. You're not like writing for something specific, you're writing something that's real to you. And I really like that. Is there a favorite song off of that album then, Silver Crane, that you guys like love the most? Any stories specifically with that?
I feel like I should know this off the top of my head, but I feel like I'd have to look.
Yeah, right. What songs are on that album?
Going off of what you just said, I mean, it's funny when you said that, it made me think of when I was in high school at my graduation ceremony. This is gonna sound random as hell, but I'm gonna make it make sense. We we were given as because I was able to give a speech at the ceremony, and we were given notes when writing the speech by I think her name was Mrs. Gribos. Make sure I get her. Shout out Miss Gribos.
Wait,
That
wait, wait, wait. Hold on. Why were you able to give a speech at your graduation?
I think where I was in the what do they call that? It was like the class government.
Valedictorian?
No, 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 none
Oh,
of that, none of that. I was close. I was in the atmosphere of that, but I wasn't that smart. Um,
interesting.
there was a lot of really cool women that were way smarter than I were. I was, but there was a note given by her that was like, when you give this speech, make it sound intelligent, but don't make it sound so intelligent that no one understands it. And I
Yeah.
feel like that's what Fly by Midnight kind of does. We like really push the needle of what we can get away with, but still make it make sense.
Yeah.
So it's cool that you brought that up. That made me think of that. And the question was,
Favorite
yeah,
song?
favorite song.
Silver
Um,
Crane?
Yeah.
yeah, I think 6 a.m. I
Yeah.
said so
That
much,
one
so
I
I'm just gonna
love
say 6 a.m.
too.
Yeah, 6 a.m. was really fun. I think I always have like a soft spot for North. I think that song, when we wrote it, it felt really special, but also Slavo had finished the production while we were on tour. And I'll never forget what city was that hotel in?
Seattle.
Seattle. And like all day he was in the lobby just with his headphones on, and it's just so cool that he could be in the lobby of a hotel in Seattle, and then he puts the headphones on me to hear kind of what the song has become. And really cool moment for us as a band, because that song went on to kind of changing a lot of things for our career. And just the fact that we recorded it in LA, we did some of my vocals when was I six, Slavo? Was that Colorado?
Here in Denver, yeah, or I guess
Yeah.
technically Boulder.
Yeah, we did some in Boulder. We did like it was just a song that we created all over the US. And then so yeah, it's just really cool to see that one kind of have legs of its own with the story of it.
That's really, really cool. That album is super, super, I love it. I think it's a really cool album. And I also love Fictional Illustrations, which came out after that, obviously, but I love both. I just found the deluxe edition of Silver Crane. I didn't even know that that was a thing until like 2 days ago. And I found, what is the name of the song that I found off of it? I'm blinking right now.
Live Free
That it
Die for
wasn't
You.
released with the rest of the album. I think it's
Yeah,
Live
live for
Free
you.
Die. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that song. I'm very, very into that one right now. So excited about that.
It's a funny story behind that song too. There was a new TV show that was out and they wanted us to be on it and
Oh,
we
really?
used that song. We like submitted that song and used that song and then they didn't go with us. So we're like, "Hey, cool." And we just put it out on that on that record
That's
on that
really
song.
Yeah,
cool.
but I think it was supposed to be on the original album, but we held it off of it because that show wanted it, and yeah, and then we were like, okay, if they're not taking it, we're still gonna put it out.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
yeah,
really
but
good. I'm surprised I didn't take it. That's lame, but
yeah, no, it was I think it was for the best. That show flopped, so
oh, okay.
yeah,
Then maybe that's good.
yeah, exactly.
Anything you guys want to say? So I was looking at your Spotify, and your number one song on there right now is Different Lives, which is that collaboration with Rachel Gray. Is there anything from that that you guys really liked in that collaboration?
I
Her
mean,
voice was incredible. I
yeah.
mean, start there. And we got to did we release that while we were on tour or was it just happened to be out already?
I'm
I don't remember.
well, the original was out,
Yeah,
right?
regardless, I think we ended up doing a show in New York, and she's from New Jersey, which we're from New York and the East Coast, so finding that out after the fact was really cool. But she came up and performed it with us, and that was like the first time we really met in person and um, got to perform the song. The one and the only time we ever did do it in live, and she crushed it. It was so fun, and it's cool to see that song. We had a feeling that song was going to do something special. And that was one that rarely wasn't a single of ours because I feel like every song we do is a single. But we thought another way to make it even more special was to add another voice on it, and she crushed it. She ended up fitting
Yeah.
perfectly in it.
Yeah, and it was one of those, like Slavo said, we've had a handful of songs where we never met the artists until the song was out.
Yeah.
And and it's also really important to Slavo and I that any artist we collaborate with, for the most part, are like pretty like we have conversations with beforehand, even if we've
Yeah.
never met them. And
Yeah.
Rachel was no exception to that. We texted back and forth with her, her enthusiasm for the song. Slavo, remember when she had we hadn't put the song out yet, but she had heard the original while getting her nails done in a salon, and she was like, "Wow, like the universe is telling us that like this is really special." And she was right, like um, but it was cool to be able to meet her after accomplishing that
Yeah.
together.
I can
Um,
imagine that.
it was like odd and very beautiful. Yeah.
That's awesome. Very cool. Anything else about the writing process for you guys? Like, some of the artists that we've talked with before have a very like distinct, like we write the music first, the lyrics come next, or we have a concept and then go from there. Like, what do you guys do when you're sitting down trying to come up with a song?
Um, yeah, I think it changes here and there. This it's funny because on the last record we did a lot of co-writing. On this one we've still done co-writing, but it's been primarily just Justin and I. And when we write together, it's totally different than collaborating with other people. It's almost like if you hang out with your closest friend, right?
Yeah.
And you like are a certain way with them, and then you bring in another two people that you're like friends with still, but you don't see them every single day. And
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And it's just the energy and the vibe is just different. That's literally just Justin and I when we're writing. We'll take our time. Like we don't put too much pressure on things when we're writing, just the two of us. Um, and then when we bring other people in, it's just like they kind of facilitate it in a much smoother and quicker way, just because I feel like we want to respect their time versus us just sitting here all day doing stuff.
Awesome.
That's
Yeah.
an insight on that side of it, but Justin can get more into the actual creative.
No, I mean, I think that summed it up really well. It's funny. Some songs, like there's a song of ours called Nothing New off of Fictional Illustrations. And Slavo and I were in the room with two people we had never met before. And we just wanted to write a song. And like Slavo said, respect their time. So we wrote that song in like an hour just because we like sort of wanted to just do the thing and then, go home to our wives and I think it really, I think that process was really good for that song. Where there's other songs on this new album that Slavo and I spend days making, and like that process is also good for certain songs because that's when you really get these lyrics that there's unique ways of saying certain things, and we're
Yeah.
telling unique stories. And sometimes, I'll be honest, for me, the process of just Slavo and I writing it's always more rewarding, but it's definitely it could be more frustrating too because we are taking longer on it,
Yeah.
and Slavo and I are different as people. So, like again, you're chilling with like your brother, your best friend. You, we get such a great product, but we definitely have to fight for it
Yeah.
more than having other people in the room, and it's like super quick and okay, this lyric is kind of cool, whatever, let's rock and roll.
Yeah.
But uh,
So the
but no,
songs that aren't as heady, go look at the credits. It's probably with other people, and the songs that are way too smart for their own good, it's probably just Justin and I.
100%. Yeah, yeah. But I mean that's also like that's part of what makes this band the way it is, you
Yeah.
know. And it's cool. Like Slavo said, I think this album we have a handful of co-writes and collaborations, but it is cool that Slavo and I more than any other album have been able to just kind of say our own stories, just the two of us, you know.
Yeah. And that's what I was gonna say too, because I feel like it can be more complicated because you guys have such a set, like, this is what we want, like almost like, everyone's own critic, like you're wanting it to be your own authentic sound. And if you have someone else, then it's like your sound and them. So like when it's just you guys, you're making your own sound, which I think is really good. And I'm excited for the upcoming album. We can transition to that. So the race laps 1 and 2 have been released. I like both of them. Very excited for it. I remember hearing Try and was like obsessed with that song for like probably like a month. Like I love that one. Still come back to that one. Excited about that for sure. And then as we said, we have As Long as It Leads to Me in our rotation here now, which is super exciting. What
That's
has you
awesome.
been your favorite songs off of the album so far that you're like most pumped for? Yeah.
It's tough because I feel like, especially a new album or new wave of music in general, they're like all your new babies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've really strived to do things a little bit differently on this album. You know, there's songs that aren't only about love, where Try is like sort of a mental health thing of just
Yeah.
being there and just like yeah, just asking for the person to just let you in a bit more. There's songs like Superfine, which
Yeah.
similar is I just want to be okay, you know. So I think that's been really fun because I think it's a lot more difficult to write songs that aren't romantically focused.
Yeah.
But with that being said, Slavo and I are, hopeless romantics at heart, and my favorite song, I think, at least one of them, is As Long as It Leads to Me, because it reminds me of when I first met Slavo and the sort of stories. Sorry, wives, if you're listening to this, but before them, we had some adventures where Slavo went on some cool dates. I remember, and I was dating some people that they were cinematic experiences, and I think being able to put that to a song, where again, it's not about meeting the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with.
Yeah.
It's just about meeting someone that is a moment in time, and it's crazy and it's ridiculous and maybe it's like a little bit stupid at the same time, but you're on your own movie journey. So that's my pick.
Yeah.
Slavo?
Yeah, I mean, I think the weather is one that for a lot of reasons is my favorite, but I mean, it kind of encapsulates the message that Fly By Minute's just been trying to put out since day one. Nostalgia, make you feel something, make you reminisce, and I mean, like Justin said, we have stories for days on stuff, and that's one of those songs where it's like it makes you think about friend stories, and we're big on friendship and having friends back home, and I have friends from Florida that I grew up with that, when I listen to that song, it makes me think of, and those are people that you can, the story of getting back together with them, and it's like you never left. So that song is a special one, and it's fun to play, which is always cool when you can do that.
For
Yeah.
sure.
I love that. Is there anything special about since we have As Long as It Leads to Me in our playlist right now? Is there anything special with that? Maybe the writing process for it. One thing I love about that is the rhythms that you guys use for that. Like I thought it was so like it just hooked me right away. I was like, I love that. And I hope the listeners at our station feel the same way. I love that song. So is there anything specific with either the writing process or what makes that? I know you kind of talked about it, Justin, a little bit, but anything else with that song in particular?
Yeah, I mean, Rhythm Boy Slavo over there is to thank for the pre-chorus because anything that has those beautifully intricate pockets
Yeah.
tends to be like Slavo's touch there. I we had a running joke that what's the lyric, Slavo? Then it's on site that you say in the
Music play.
pre-chorus, and I
Yeah.
was like, I don't know what that means, but whatever, dude. You
Gotta
know,
get on TikTok, my boy.
yeah, exactly. He's a little more hip than I am. But no, I mean we actually co-wrote that with this dude Michael Cameraman, he's from the band Small Pools, which is a
Oh,
great band.
awesome. Yeah.
And yeah, that was our first time meeting him, and it was like it was cool. We wrote I think the first verse and all the way up to the chorus, and then it was cool because Slavo and I got to take it back home and months later reopen it and be like, okay, now what does the story mean? Can we tweak some lyrics? Can we, the second verse? And I'll just say too, and then I'll shut up. But what I really like about this song too, and I tell my wife this often about it, being I'm not in that position anymore,
Yeah.
she has some friends that I hear that are still sort of in this navigating this journey of life and romantic, relationships and it's they deal with, even though some moments are beautiful, they deal with some headaches, and it's really difficult with internet dating and all this stuff today. So I think what's really cool and what I love listening back on the song is the second verse is correct me if I'm wrong, Slave. I think I brought in that sort of idea to you where I was like, yeah, the second verse, let's talk about how like this digital age is like kind of wearing me out, but it brought me to you. So like there's this sort of dichotomy there. But yeah, I think it was just a really fun process of a handful of different ideas. That was my very long
No, I love
response
that.
to
Was
that.
great. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
perfect.
Slave on anything?
Yeah, I mean, I think to the theme of the album, which we haven't really revealed the name of it yet, but it's cool that we were able to do something that I felt really close to, as far as like sonically. I mean, a lot of the references were stuff that we grew up listening to, and one of them being Boys Like Girls, which is,
Yeah.
in my opinion, the reason why we ended up going with the lyrics that we did in the bridge. It's kind of an homage to them.
That's awesome.
Girls say, boys stay the night. So. Um, I think doing stuff like that is really cool. Then when we can like do little Easter eggs, teasers like that. But th that
Yeah.
sound is like basically what I grew up on. That kind of like punk, almost. Yeah, it's got like a rock and roll tone to it. And it's fun to be able to still do that in the music that we make today.
Yeah, that's really cool. That transitions perfectly into my next question, which was about just any musical influences and things. The fact that you were talking about Small Pools and Boys Like Girls, we play both of those artists at the station. So it's
Uh,
cool to have just to hear like how you guys fit, even with your own sound, you fit in right with the artists that we're playing here, and it's perfect. Any other musical just influences, bands, artists today of the past, anyone that you guys look to for maybe inspiration on your writing process and everything?
Yeah, I think what's cool is that we pull from modern inspiration, but like a lot of artists in our world, a lot of our inspiration is, retro stuff as well. Slavo's always been a massive fan of Billy Joel, and so am I in many ways, but like Hall and Oates, Elton John, these of course, the Beatles had a way, which I think we've really come into our own of doing, where the Beatles tell stories, but they also do it in sort of a poetic way that it leaves itself open for interpretation.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that with practice, Slavo and I have gotten better at doing. So those are at least retro ones that speak to me. Otherwise, we love modern artists like Charlie Puth or 1975,
Yeah.
Ban Camino, other bands in our sort of
Yeah.
orbit as well. Yeah.
I love the band Camino. I actually just saw them over the summer. It was a really good show. I think Knox opened for them, which I loved him as well. His like more, I don't even know. I guess I would say like a kind of like a pop rock sort of sound that he has. So it was a really good show for the two of them. So yeah, I love that those are some of your influences. Very cool. I guess next up will be so is the album coming out this year? Is it coming out in 2025? Can we say that or no? Is it a surprise?
We hope so. Uh, right? I mean, Slavo, is that the best way to put it, I guess?
Yeah, I mean the goal is to have it out by this year.
Awesome.
But the way we work, who knows?
Yeah, yeah. I think the plan, no matter what, is to have an album, and of course to be able to tour the album. So
Yeah,
it's really trying to connect those dots, and yeah, the plan is to get back out on the road with some new music. So
that'd be
we're really
great.
excited.
Can
Yeah.
make it stop in Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh yeah, for sure. We love
Awesome.
Ohio.
Awesome. We would love it. I'm sure we can get a bunch of people from the station. We could all go and support. It'd be really fun.
That's awesome.
Um, well, we're almost done. Our next one will be, do you have any advice? We asked kind of most of the artists that we talk about or we talk to, we ask them if they have any advice for anyone looking to get involved in the music industry, especially with, all as crazy as the music industry has been with recent changes and just how music gets out there and everything like that. Um, where like of the past it was so like radio heavy, like what made the radio people would know. Now it's like what's popular on social media and platforms and things. So, do you have any advice for anyone looking to try and make their way into that?
Yeah, I mean the biggest example of Justin and I is that we're a duo that we collaborate, and I think that had a lot to do with our success. And not that that's everyone's formula, but I mean when you're getting started, it's nice to have someone to lean on. So I guess I would say to find someone that you trust and that you feel creatively aligned with in some respect, and bounce ideas off each other, and just I think it's more fun to have that camaraderie, especially when you're starting out, instead of just sitting there doing it yourself and trying to learn from YouTube videos, which is a lot of where I learned a lot of my production stuff, but that well runs dry pretty quick. So find some people that to do it and have fun with.
I fully agree. I think community is really important because, like you just said, Jessica, like the state of the industry, social media could be really exciting to put certain bands on the map, and we're so grateful for that machine. But
Yeah.
it could also be it could also hurt morale in a lot of ways and make things tiresome. And I think having people on the journey with you, even if they're not part of your project, but just being surrounded by like-minded people, I
Yeah.
think has been really good for us and also artists we know as well. Like we're all sort of on this journey to be able to, and we're grateful to be able to do this for a living. And yeah, yeah, I think it's just really about, like most careers, about who you surround yourself with. Yeah.
Awesome. That's great. I think we're pretty much about done. Do you have anything
Great.
else
Sweet.
before I wrap up the interview?
No, I just think thank you to you and the station for playing as long as it leads to me. I think any station that supports us, we always want to make the time for. I think
Yeah.
that's super cool, and yeah, we're just grateful to have fans, all over the states, all over the world. It's something we don't take for granted. Every city, the fact that people are listening, whether it's 500 or 100 or 50 people, whatever it is, we're just grateful that we're a part of people's days, and I think it's really special. Yeah.
Anything from you, Levo?
Ooh, yeah, come see us live if we're
Yeah.
close enough.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. We have a good time. We put a lot of time into our show, and we really care about the time that you guys are giving us to come see us. So if you
Yeah.
are so kind to join us and grace us with your presence, please do. We'd love to
I
have
would
you.
love to. Yeah, you guys are on my list of artists to see. I'm a big concert person, so I'd love to get to see you guys live. So if you guys come to Cleveland, I will be there.
Yeah,
Awesome.
All
Well,
right, awesome. Well,
thank you
yeah,
so
thank you
much.
guys so much. I appreciate you taking your time out of your day to come and talk with me for a little bit. But yeah, for 8.3 The Sting, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Have a great day. Thank you again.
Thank you
have a
guys
good
so
one.
much. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.